Zootopia 2 theme explained. What is it really about? Zootopia 2 deepens its world with themes of inclusion, discrimination, and identity as Judy, Nick, and Gary DeSnake push audiences to rethink. Zootopia was never just a buddy cop comedy with colorful and funny animals racing through a metropolitan city. You'd think the movie was made for kids, but just like every other animation, it packed sharp social commentary that mirrors the reality of our world. The first movie centered on a predator versus prey storyline, and this time it is about differences on a broader level. Gary DeSnake became a catalyst for Zootopia 2's core message, but the heart of the story was still Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. Gary DeSnake is the kind of character this sequel desperately needed, not because he's flashy or villainous, but because he makes viewers confront their blind spots. Zootopia is a city built on the idea of inclusion, but even in this world, some species are quietly pushed to the margin. It's the perfect allegory for what's currently happening in our actual world. Snakes and reptiles at large are shown to be a community that's discriminated against, and the people in power ensure the status quo doesn't change. Using a snake to make their point was a genius move by the creatives because these animals, despite minding their own business, have been vilified in pop culture for years, to the point that people are now actually grossed out and scared by them. What the lynxes did to the snakes in Zootopia 2 is no less than what we, as humans, did to them. Falsely framing them for our agenda and justifying our hate is exactly what happened to snakes and even other reptiles that resemble them in any way, simply because they have characteristics different from a mammal. Now, let's look at how this works for the in-movie logic. One could see it quite literally as a bias towards reptiles, or see how it points out the way humans villainize entire communities and ethnicities. Gary's last name, being DeSnake, also fits, as the de is often used by people of Spanish-speaking origins. So, in a way, it highlights the current immigrant crisis in the USA and the erasure of their hard work. Judy Hopps, who is a hopeless optimist, realizes the world is far more complicated after listening to Gary's experience. Though the city was built on the back of his ancestors' idea, he is now a part of an environment that actively works to discredit his species and treats him like filth. It also connects to colonialism because invaders always found a way to twist history in a way that only benefits them, placing the people they exploited at the bottom of the hierarchy. Gary DeSnake is voiced by Ke Quan, the Oscar-winning actor who got his big break with Everything Everywhere All at Once, after working in Hollywood for years. He also comes from an immigrant background, with humble beginnings via NPR. Meryl Streep's Golden Globe speech addressed how even the entertainment industry was built by people who came from all around the world. Unfortunately, it's not just settlers from other communities that are harmed by the people in power, but also the ones who've been on the land for centuries. The removal and rebranding of Native Americans is another interpretation of Zootopia 2, since all the reptiles were essentially banished from the land they lived on. So, even though history is rewritten to wipe out the people who actually made a difference in the past, it's our job to discover the truth and not blindly accept what's been fed to us for decades. And that really is the larger message of Zootopia 2. Zootopia 2 leans on Judy and Nick to make us cherish differences. Judy Hopps was only a rookie officer, handing out parking tickets, when she met Nick Wilde, a fox, hustling day in and day out by doing petty crimes. Their predator and prey dynamic created Zootopia's central conflict, but they worked their way around it through their bond. In Zootopia 2, we see how the two have accepted their inherent differences, but this time around, it is their philosophies and worldviews that clash. To the little bunny with big dreams, fighting corruption and exposing scandals is everything because she truly wants to make her city a better place. But Nick the fox is more laid back and believes that cleansing the world of its impurities is not worth risking your life for. He's comfortable with assuming a fake identity and living the rest of his days in some leisurely time. In a conversation where the two realize how they don't view the world the same, the duo gets separated by circumstances. But that's when they get some time to reflect on their bond and realize they'd want to be with each other despite their dissimilar opinions. It all ends with their explosive confession, and Nick even admits that he loves her, which is huge considering how nonchalant he tries to be. Their partnership has always been about bridging the differences, and the sequel elevates the idea, making it more nuanced and mature. We are reminded of what genuine inclusion looks like and how it needs effort from both sides. Even though they are strong allies, their partnership evolves, and they teach us how to accept people beyond the surface level is far more important. Also, in this rising trend of cutting off connections, because the person doesn't have the same beliefs as you do, Judy and Nick's relationship is refreshing. We don't need to abandon people simply because they view the world differently. There's a reason for people forming a belief system, and it's often rooted in their childhood and upbringing. And the duo very vocally brings all of that up in the finale. So now they both understand each other a bit more, and so do we.